can't believe that until a year ago, I was not watching TikToks. Once the pandemic started and I was feeling so bad and I kind of needed a pick-me-up, my sister told me, you know what, download TikTok. I'm gonna like send you videos of people that I like and you'll see. And it started with like me watching just videos of pets and people dancing and learning like routines and stuff, and basically anything to make me feel better. I know a lot of people did the same because TikTok became such a huge thing. But then a few months ago, I started my kind of self-growth, self-care journey, self-love, all the self things, and I started watching different videos, and now my feed is mostly anything about self-growth, self-care, self-love, manifestation, everything that basically helps me to grow as a person. I know that TikTok may sound like a lot of Gen Z stuff, and I'm a millennial myself, so I was like, that's not gonna be for me. Well, you know what, depending on what you're looking for on the platform, you'll find something that you'll love. And the other day I was thinking that every time I open TikTok, it's mostly to make me feel better now, but in a different way than it was for me last year. Last year it was really to escape from reality, to just watch funny things, entertaining things, but now it's more to kind of learn things. And so I thought it would be fun to share with you 10 things I've learned through TikToks that you wouldn't necessarily think that you could learn on a social media platform. Let's jump right in. I will link down in the description box all the links to the wonderful TikToks that I'm mentioning right now, of course. So the first thing was from someone called Evolve and Bloom. I do have my notes right here. And she was talking about how she was trying to change her mindset from doubting that you're worth it, doubting that you could have something, and changing it to, is that good enough for me? And when you think about it, let it sit with you for a little bit, it's like, that's a different way to see it. And it's so interesting to think about when you live your life and you're like, I'm not good enough for that job, or I'm not good enough to get that house, and you're like, think about it differently. Is that job good enough for me? Is that good enough for me to showcase my skills, to show up every day and be the best version of myself, and for it to benefit me? Such an interesting way to change your mindset on things. The next two things are pretty similar. The first one is from Georgia Ferraris, and she says, visualize who you want to be and show up as her every day. And the third one is from Tik Tok, which is a voiceover, and it says, you have to practice who you want to be. You don't wake up one morning and you're suddenly who you want to be. You have to put some energy into it, which I think is so interesting because it's all about like wanting to be that person, wanting to be that better version of yourself, but kind of thinking that it's all gonna come one day, when actually one day should be today, and you have to practice it. It's not gonna come like that and just like, oh, I'm that person now. It's just like you have to try every single day to be that person. You have to practice it. It's not something that's gonna come easily. It's something that you have to work towards every day. And I thought it was so interesting because I'm always thinking like, one day I'll be like this, one day I won't feel like this, one day I will be more like that. And it's like, one day won't come, one day is today. And actually it goes hand in hand with the fourth one, which is from Anilisita, and what she talks about is so interesting. And basically she starts with, manifesting for the future is a trap. Basically what she explains is that the future does not exist. The future is a continuation of today's. And so if you try to manifest for the future, you're always focused on the past and on the future, but you're not focused on the present, when actually the only thing that is real is the present tense, like the present time. So if you keep manifesting for the future, you're focused on the future once again, but not focused on today, when actually you should be focused on today to manifest everything that you want, because tomorrow is actually another today. You won't feel a difference. You won't feel like, oh yeah, I'm in the future now. It will feel like the present. So manifest things for today, for the present time, and do think like, this could happen right now. This could happen not in 3 months, because in 3 months it will be another today. The next one is from Alaska Gold, which is another voiceover, and she says, stop living your life as a prologue, as if your story will only be worthwhile once you fix whatever you think needs fixing. Doesn't say that exactly, but That's something I really needed to hear, I think, because I'm always thinking about once I will be thinner, once I will be stronger, once I will take care of my mental health better, once I will have dealt with issues that I'm dealing with right now, then my story will start. But it actually means that right now I'm not actually doing anything important or constructive or worthwhile. That's so bad of me to think, because is that supposed to mean that right now is not good enough, or that a future time will be better? It's like, no, your life is every day. It's what you do every day, and that's how you should think about it. Like, not once I will be like this, once I will look like this, once I will have that, then I will. It's like, do it right now. Like the Tik Toks before talked about, like, there's no future. It's only about today. And that really helped me to overcome a few things in my mind and be more focused on how I'm feeling, and being present and not always thinking about once I will. The next TikTok that I really loved was from Elizabeth and Swenson, and it's all about how manifestation works. And I will, like I said, like, I will have them everything linked down below, but hers was so interesting if you don't understand how manifestation works. Basically, it's about who's in the driver's seat, who's holding the GPS, and how everything unfolds. And I won't spoil it because honestly it's so good. It really helped me to understand how manifestation works. It's so good. Yeah, honestly, I will just like go look at it. It's so good. The next one is from @Mindset Zone, which I believe is a TED Talk, the video, and it's all about procrastinating. And it's basically about like how you're not a procrastinator, you have a habit of procrastinating. And that basically it has 3 steps, which is first the trigger, which is always stress, and then you have a pattern that you repeat, which is to avoid doing something, and then that the reward is stress relief. Just that part helps me so much because I procrastinate a lot on doing things. And after even seeing that TikTok, which was really funny, I talked about it with my therapist, and she was like, why do you avoid doing that? Is that because it brings stress into your life? Because as well, I do have a self-confidence issue, and so she was like, maybe it's because you avoid doing it because it makes you feel stressed, because you don't believe that you can actually do it, or that you're worth it, or that you have the abilities to do it. And that was like, oh, so I don't just procrastinate to just not do something. There's a reason behind it. And I find that so interesting, because it's like whenever you're in high school, everyone is like, yeah, I'm just not gonna do it, I'll do it the night before. And sometimes I'm thinking like, maybe we are not procrastinators. Maybe some of us are, but maybe it's just because it brings us stress, because it's like all about like needing to have high grades so that you can get into a good school afterwards, or university, and that you need to succeed, and that if you don't do well with your studies, then you're not gonna have a good job, and if you don't have a good job, you won't be able to provide for you or your family or have the life that you want. And it's like, wow, like thinking of it like that is. The next one is from @LauraAnn_, and it's all about feeling versus fueling your emotions. And I think I needed to hear that one. Basically, fueling your emotions is like you're sitting there and you're sad. And you're sad, so you're gonna listen to sad songs. And so it's gonna fuel the fact that you're feeling sad. Versus feeling your emotions. You feel them, you acknowledge them, you're like, yeah, I'm feeling sad because of this, or just because I'm feeling sad. And then you move on from it. You don't go and listen to sad music. You just acknowledge it. Okay, that's how I'm feeling, and you move on. Very interesting for me, because I tend to be the person that if I wake up feeling a certain way, I'm gonna fuel it throughout the day. I'm gonna be like, yeah, the weather is bad, so that's why I'm sad, and I don't have enough sunlight, and then I'm gonna listen to slow music. But actually, I'm feeling that emotion, which is why I feel like this during the entire day. This one was so interesting. It's from Glow Alexis Glow, and she was coming from a therapy session, which I love, and it's all about like projection and advice. And so basically she talks about like a quote from Kanye West, who says something like, he doesn't take advice from someone who is not as successful as him. And I've heard that before, like, don't take an advice from someone who is not an expert in their field, which is very interesting actually. And she talks about like how when someone is giving you an advice, ask yourself, has they done as much work on themselves as I have, like at the same level, but also ask yourself, where are they coming from? Are they just projecting their insecurities onto you, or are they lifting you up? And I find that very interesting, because when someone is giving you advice, and I know that for me, like sometimes when I have something that I want to do, I sit with it for a little bit before talking about it with other people, because I do not want people giving me advice projecting their fears onto me. I just like to make sure that I'm really sure of what I'm doing. I'm really like certain that that's what I'm doing, so that I can listen to it, but it wouldn't affect me as much. And the last one is from Whitney Euland. I love that one. And basically someone asked her how to feel and process your emotions, and she was like, I was waiting for you to ask me that. She starts with saying, thoughts are like toddlers. They are going to keep popping up until you give them a little bit of attention. And then she goes on and says, so when you do feel like that, either you pay attention to your feelings, you're like, I'm feeling like this, and either they will go away, or they will let you know that something needs to be addressed. And then she says that it's all about self-compassion. So just go here and put your hand on your heart, and you're like, of course I'm feeling sad, of course I'm feeling stressed, of course I'm feeling like this. And then you add the reason behind it, like, of course I'm feeling stressed, I've had a lot going on this week, I've had so many deadlines, of course I'm feeling stressed. And so the combination of having your brain and your body work together, it will calm your central nervous system down, and your brain will stop thinking that your thoughts and your emotions are a problem, and you will start to be able to work through them. And I find that very interesting. If you avoid it, you're not taking care of it, and so it will keep popping up. Yes, TikTok is a social media platform, but like on every social media platform, there is good to it and bad to it, and don't just focus on the bad. And what I love about TikTok as well is that once you really find a type of videos that you like, you will have like your For You page will keep showing you content that will interest you. And my sister also sends me the best TikToks of like any situation and everything, so do let me know in the comments if you are on TikTok, what type of videos you love on TikTok, or any lessons that you might have learned on there. And I hope you're well, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.